Hello guys, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about combining pull-ups with kettlebell training. This is a follow-up. The other day we made a video about combining kettlebell training with barbell training in a CrossFit box. When you combine specific things together, you always have to do the design equation. What do you have access to, and how are they going to integrate into each other? We tend to order our workout from the most important thing to the least important thing, and that is for time management. With the barbell plus kettlebell, it was focused on a push day. So we had warm up, Turkish get up, long cycler clean and press, plus bench. Bench being the least important thing because it's the thing that involves the least total movement patterns. Today, let's talk about combining pull-ups with kettlebells because it is slightly different. We are going to start, as we always do, with a warm-up. 8 to 12 minutes. If you go to a CrossFit box, it might be 8 minutes. I like 12 minutes. That can either be joint mobility, that could be a joint mobility program like I have put out for Strong and Fit, where we have 12 minutes of exercises that focus on the most important things: the neck, the shoulders, the hip, and the spine. Warm up the biggest things. If your shoulders, your hips, your spine, your neck work, everything else tends to work better. So we like to keep our warm-up focused on that. You can also use a light club or a light mace for warm-up, and that would be a time under tension protocol. I like 60 seconds of one thing, so we get 6 exercises, 60 seconds left, 60 seconds right. That would give us 12 total minutes. I always like to start with inside circles, outside circles, and shield casts. We have videos on all of those, and we talk about those movements a lot because those are the things you need to be really, really good at. Every time you do an inside circle with a club, the way that you catch and rotate across is essentially the same movements that you would do in shoulder rehab or shoulder therapy. Same thing with the outside circle, same thing with the shield cast. So we like to make sure we're warming up every day by warming up the important things. Most people in the world have shoulder injuries, especially those in the Western world who work out in gyms. So we like to make sure that we're fitting that in every day, no matter what you're doing. After that, this is where it deviates from barbell a little bit. We put the pull-ups before the kettlebell. The pull-ups are the thing that's most likely to kill you or that you're most likely to mess up because this is a total body movement. You're up off the ground. If you're doing swinging or kipping or anything like that, you would like to do that while your grip and your shoulders are fresh. Warm up the shoulders, warm up the spine, warm up the wrist, the elbows, then move to the hardest part next, which is pull-ups. I like this as a 30-minute block of training, and then I like to segment that into 3 different sections. So section 1 could be 10 minutes of every minute on the minute and do your numbers, say, with a weight vest. Section 2, the second 10 minutes could be body weight, working on your pull-ups, and section 3 could be assist, adding a band to the pull-ups. This is somewhere in the middle of pure skill training and body development training. The goal with this idea is to get the most pull-ups in that amount of time. So you set this up as a 30-minute block. These 30-minute block ideas for more conventional training are an idea I got from a trainer who lived in Tennessee about 10 years ago. And his idea was really a 60-minute block, but he wasn't doing any of the other stuff. He didn't warm up, he didn't kettlebell, and he didn't do any sexy training. He just did an hour of pull-ups and he did an hour of bench all the time. Then he did an hour of deadlift and then he would do an hour of squat. It was a simple program, but it worked very, very well. It is a good idea and you can learn these good ideas from almost anybody. If you're gonna modify this block into something different, if you're not good at pull-ups, then you could have a light assist band, a medium assist band, and a heavy assist band. And you would pick your numbers to be low. Whatever you can max out at, pick a number that's 60 or 80% of that number and then run that number the entire time. So if you're doing body weight pull-ups and you can do, say, 10, then you would do sets of 6 every minute on the minute. And then you would add some assist, you would stay with sets of 6, and then you would add more assist and you would stay with sets of 6, and you would run that program for a while. The goal is on the final set with assist that you try to get as many as you can and you try to max out that final set. So we're working on volume for the majority of it and then you're trying to reach max out at the end. After that, I like to move towards kettlebells. Kettlebells are safer than pull-ups. Depending on how high your rig is or anything else, pull-ups can be safe if you're doing them in a low place. I like to do my pull-ups high because I like to have a full straight body. So eventually you can hang kettlebells off your toes for that first section of training, which would be weight vest or kettlebell hanging off the toes in the classic Russian way. Kettlebells, slightly less dangerous. You're not off the ground, your grip's not going to fatigue, nothing's going to go wrong. For the most part, your kettlebell pull combined with pull-ups should be either a swing or a snatch. And there are a million ways to do that. Swing family of movements and snatch family of movements. Our swing is replacing our barbell deadlift for now in this idea. The swing mimics the deadlift pattern, but it is substantially lighter weight, and there are a lot more reps, and it is pure power training. It is not strength training, it is power training that has a massive strength component benefit. The other idea, if you're stepping up from that, is snatches. If you're doing swings, then you can have anywhere from a 10, 15, 20, or 30-minute program. We have a whole nerd math program that talks just about that, and multi-year program just for developing the kettlebell swing. The hand-to-hand swing, which is my favorite one, the start-stop hand-to-hand swing, the start-stop two-hand swing, and then building those up through different time protocols and moving up in weight. After that, snatch training tends to take more time because most people are going to do snatch training as an EMOM, every minute on the minute. They'll start with sets of 3, 4, or 5. The goal is to get to sets of 5. That's 5 left, 5 right. Do that inside of a minute. Build up your volume cycle towards 20 total sets, which would give you a total of 100 total reps. And then you can either go up in weight or you can do a density cycle from there. That depends on equipment. If you have heavier weights, go up in weight. If you don't have heavier weights, increase the intensity. And then the final block, the least important block, is the sexy training block. Sexy training block is just to make people look better. For the most part, sexy training has very little overall effect on complete athletic performance. So this is the one that tends to be more equipment restrictive. Sexy training, you would like to hit muscles in ways that you cannot hit them in the natural world. That's kind of the point of a lot of bodybuilding machines. Pull-ups are perfectly natural, kettlebells are perfectly natural. Sexy training, you can either use whatever exercises you have available, something like, say, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, reverse lat flies, and you would think about combining 3 exercises in a row as a superset, and then you could pick any one of an infinite number of protocols depending on what your goals are. It's hard to do sexy training without more equipment. That's why people tend to leave it out. For the most part, you can get strong and functional and have a better quality of life and become a better athlete almost anywhere. Sexy training is a little bit more dependent on having that gym that has those machines that are designed to stress the body at odd angles to cause growth in places that most people naturally wouldn't get growth. The super duper wide upper back, super thick, all of that stuff is kind of built into sexy training. There probably are ways to do it perfectly functionally, but for the most part, the people who are really into sexy training are into the gym equipment portion of it. But that block can be any one of an infinite number of things, and we can talk about that over and over and over again. I like that as a 30-minute block as well, but there are a ton of ways to do that. I like 10 3-minute rounds, same thing, a similar block to what's done in pull-ups, but these are 31-minute rounds. These are 10 3-minute rounds. Shove 3 exercises in a row, make it a giant superset, rest for the remainder of the time. You should have 60 to 90 seconds to rest. And that's so that you can lift more weight and do more stuff. So we're always trying to order these ideas in the most important to the least important. Your warm-up, make sure you're checking in with your body every day. If you have a lot of injuries like I do, or you have a lot of miles, you've done a lot of dumb stuff, you wrecked a lot of motorcycles, you've jumped off a lot of buildings, the warm-up is important. That's the most important part. Turning all the systems on for your body in series, in a row, all the time. And then going into the next hardest thing, the next most dangerous thing. Pull-ups. This pull-up block could be a muscle-up block. It could be a ring block. This is just a total body pull. I used to do this as circus training, and this would be rope climbing and inverted rope climbing and inverted straddle climbs and Russian climbs and everything for a 30-minute block. And then we would go to kettlebells, depending on what weights you have available. Think about your best pulling movements as being your swing or your snatch We're not putting clean in there right now because clean tends to be on a push day. I like to shove it into long cycle training, and I consider them slightly different things. And then the final block, the least important block, is the sexy training block, where you try to hit muscles in a bunch of odd ways in order to create growth outside of these normal movement patterns. This has just been a rough idea. We can talk about this a million times in a million different ways. If you have specific questions, ask them, and we will try to make some whiteboard videos like this if we can get around all this stuff in the shop.